From getting infinite gems for completely free to nerfs that silently changed the game forever, here are 17 Clash Royale changes you never noticed. I bet you didn't notice that the Goblin Gang card art only shows 5 total goblins, but when you use it, it spawns 6. Back in February 2017, it spawned 6 goblins like it does today, 3 with knives and 3 with spears. But a few months after this, Supercell changed it to only spawn in 5, changing the card art to match it. Then on October 22nd, they suddenly brought the missing goblin back and we were back to 6. But here's the weird part. The card art still shows only 5 goblins even after all this time. So next time you play Goblin Gang and wonder why it's a man down, remember, it's still living in 2017. Gems in Clash Royale used to be free. Well, kind of. Back in December 2017, Supercell dropped a limited time event called Gem Rush. It worked just like Gold Rush, but instead of gold, you earned real gems just by taking towers in regular battles. Depending on your arena, you could get up to 250 gems across the weekend. It came back a few times in early 2018, and then it completely disappeared forever. Turns out, giving away gems for free doesn't help sell gem packs, so Supercell removed it forever. How greedy. Remember the 2 little free chests that used to sit in the corner waiting for you every few hours? Back in the early days of Clash Royale, free chests were a core part of the game, and you didn't have to win a single battle to collect some gold, cards, and the occasional gems. But in October 2017, Supercell removed them entirely and introduced quests. Now, instead of passive chests, players had to complete daily and weekly tasks to earn rewards and build up to a quest chest. Then, in March 2024, the quests were rebranded into what are now known as daily tasks. Man, I miss those freebies. We all know that Golden Knight was always known for his flashy dash, but did you know that he can dash backwards now? In May of 2025, the Golden Knight's dash ability got a rework where he can now turn around mid-charge and dash toward troops behind him. This one change completely messed with how people read his pathing because his dash used to only track enemies in front of him. If your opponent suddenly gets KO'd from the back, don't panic. That's just the Golden Knight pulling off a reverse hit and run. Have you ever wondered why your trusty log doesn't feel as satisfying anymore? Barely pushing the charging guards back? Yeah, there's a reason for it. Back in the February 2023 balance update, Supercell quietly nerfed the log's knockback distance from 1 tile to 0.7 tiles, a massive 30% reduction. That meant it didn't reset troops quite as far, and defensive sequences that leaned heavily on that extra shove felt slightly weaker afterwards. Since the damage and elixir cost didn't change, most players just kept using it and didn't even realize their timing was off. If you're playing after a long break and your log feels a bit too polite, just know that Supercell nerfed its attitude. Did you know that back in 2017, there was no copy deck button? If you liked a deck from a replay, you had to pause, screenshot, and manually recreate it card by card. Then out of nowhere, Supercell slipped in this quality of life change, and boom, 1 tap and the whole deck appeared in your slots. Back in 2017, when the Executioner was first released, he didn't just throw his axe, he deleted everything in its path. When the Executioner was first added in February 2017, his axe didn't always behave the way it should have. Thanks to a glitch, his boomerang style throw would sometimes get stuck on enemies, hitting them repeatedly in the same frame and dealing absurd damage. Supercell never said they patched the Infinite Axe, but in their February 13, 2017 balance update, they vaguely noted a few bugs that they would be fixing in the next update, and suddenly the broken axe was gone forever. If you remember watching the axe spin like a Beyblade of Doom, you're a real OG, cause most players today don't even know how broken this guy used to be. Nobody remembers how the OG King emote sounded back in the day. When Clash Royale dropped in 2016, King emotes like the laugh, cry, and thumbs up each had unique audio clips. But during unannounced updates in 2018, Supercell replaced those nostalgic sound effects with newer, more generic ones. If you were playing before 2018 and spammed that legendary I'm sorry, but Supercell took a piece of your childhood. But one thing nobody noticed was that the classic heal spell was completely deleted and replaced by a 1 elixir heal spirit back in April 2020. The OG heal spell, our trusty 3 elixir team-wide healer, vanished during the April 2nd, 2020 maintenance update and was replaced by the single-use heal spirit. Now your heal comes in a tiny jumper that bursts when it lands. Supercell's patch notes confirmed the card swap, and all old heal cards were automatically converted to heal spirits. The change was so low-key that if you stopped playing after 2020 and returned, you might not have even noticed the missing heal spell. Have you ever noticed the miner popping up from underground was either a tiny bit faster or slower than you usually remembered? When miner first came out, his deployment delay was 1 second, but in July 2016, Supercell briefly dropped it to 0.75 seconds without telling anyone. But just a month later, it secretly got bumped back to 1 second where it stayed. But most players never even noticed the switchback, and that tiny 0. 0.3 second difference is just enough to mess up a last second defense or let a princess get off one extra shot. But I bet you didn't know that the cannon card doesn't have a shield anymore, it just fakes it. Instead of having a separate shield that breaks before it becomes a building, the shield was merged into the main HP bar. Now when it drops to 50% health, it instantly locks into place and becomes a cannon, even if it still looks like the wheels just fell off. Oh, and it got a 5% HP buff to smooth it over. If you're still timing spells to pop the shield first, that ship sailed months ago. The cannon cart only has one health bar now, and barely anyone knows about it yet. You probably never noticed it, but Pekka doesn't swing quite as far as she used to. In February 2025, Supercell reduced her melee range from 1.6 tiles to 1.2, a small number change that made a huge gameplay difference. There was no flashy animation tweak or a glowing radius circle, just a quick line in the patch notes, and suddenly Pekka had to walk a little closer before attacking, which meant ranged troops like archers or musketeers could sneak in extra hits before she connected. It didn't break the card, but it chipped away at her dominance. And unless you noticed this change, you probably just thought your timing was off the whole time. The Archer Queen used to be able to go invisible way more often than you think. In January 2025, Supercell quietly increased the cooldown on her cloaking capability from 15 seconds to 17. It wasn't headlined in the patch notes, just tucked in beneath other champion tweaks. That tiny delay might not seem like much, but it throws off her entire rhythm. Players who were used to cycling her ability twice per push suddenly found themselves completely exposed. It was a small but deadly nerf, and unless you were counting seconds mid-match, you probably just thought you misclicked. There was a time when one tornado was a one-shot for skeletons, but a couple of months ago, Supercell quietly adjusted Tornado's internal timing, increasing its attack time interval from 0.5 seconds to 0.55 seconds. Just a 0.05 second slowdown, but that's all it took. Suddenly, Tornado could no longer one-shot skeletons, and goblins and archers lived longer than expected. The spell's total damage didn't change, but its rhythm did. And that was enough to throw off muscle memory for thousands of players who relied on precise timing. So next time your Tornado leaves a goblin alive, now you know. Supercell, we need old Tornado back. Everyone thinks Goblin Hut sucks, but it used to be insanely OP back in the day. This is because in the June 2025 update, the Spear Goblin spawn rate was slowed from 1.7 to 1.8 seconds, and its overall health was reduced by about 6%. It might seem like a tiny change, but over a full match, that delay means fewer goblins on the board and way less pressure. What used to be a steady chip machine now struggles to keep up, and unless you were counting goblins by the second, this one probably slipped right past you. Did you know there's a secret achievement badge in Clash Royale that you can only unlock by doing something incredibly simple? Yet most players never even think to do it. It's called the question marks badge, and it's completely hidden from the achievements list until you unlock it. To get it, you just need to go into your game settings and watch the entire credit sequence without skipping or tapping the screen. I know, it's boring as hell, but once you reach the end and see the Clash Royale logo and version number, the badge will magically appear. So the real question is, are you dedicated enough to sit through the credits for this hidden reward? Me personally, I'd rather watch paint dry. Nowadays, when you enter the in-game shop, you'll see tons of offers and deals shoved in your face, but back in the day, this wasn't how it looked at all. When the game was first launched, the shop was super simple. 3 cards on a shelf, plus a few static gold or gem bundles. Then came the introduction of daily deals, and everything changed. Over time, Supercell turned the shop into a full-blown marketplace with targeted offers, limited time bundles, bonus chests, and personalized packs based on your collection. And unless you were there in 2016, you'll never get to see the shop without Supercell trying to farm money off of you. And there you have it, 17 Clash Royale changes you never noticed. Subscribe and watch the video on screen right now!